The year was 1776. While revolutions reshaped nations, another revolution began quietly on paper. Adam Smith, a Scottish moral philosopher from Kirkcaldy, released The Wealth of Nations, a text that turned moral philosophy into an analytical science of production and exchange. Smith's world was pre-industrial. Merchants traded across the Atlantic, laborers toiled under feudal remnants, and economists did not yet exist as a distinct profession. His goal wasn't to celebrate greed, as later caricatures claimed, but to understand the forces of coordination, how self-interest could unintentionally weave social harmony. Smith built upon Newtonian order, believing that just as gravity bound the planets, market forces could bind human actions into balance. He defined wealth not as gold or silver, but as the annual produce of the land and labor of the society. This shift, from stockpiled treasure to productive output, was radical. It reframed entire economies from static collections to dynamic systems of exchange. Smith's political economy wasn't politics nor commerce alone, but a bridge between ethics, production, and policy, a framework that would later become economics itself. Smith's most transformative insight came not from kings or merchants, but from the pin factory. He observed that 10 men dividing tasks could produce 48,000 pins a day, whereas working alone each could scarcely make 20. From this, Smith derived the division of labor, the principle that productivity grows exponentially when tasks are specialized and repetitive. But Smith saw deeper than mechanics. He recognized the cognitive economy of specialization. Focus reduces coordination costs and enhances tacit skill. Each worker, by mastering one motion, unconsciously advances the entire system's efficiency. He also warned of its dangers, that monotony could dull the worker's intellect, a concern later echoed by Marx and Durkheim. Still, Smith believed that rising productivity was the moral and material foundation of progress. By linking labor specialization to national wealth, he mathematically shifted economics from zero-sum mercantilism to positive-sum growth. The division of labor, in Smith's eyes, wasn't merely about production. It was a mirror of human interdependence. It proved that the prosperity of nations rests on cooperation through markets rather than command. Perhaps no metaphor in economics has been more enduring or misunderstood than Smith's invisible hand. He suggested that individuals pursuing their own interest are led by an invisible hand to promote ends which were no part of their intention. It was not mystical. It was a system of decentralized optimization. In modern terms, the invisible hand resembles a self-adjusting general equilibrium. Prices act as information signals, reallocating resources toward efficiency without central command. Smith's moral foundation was essential here. He did not worship self-interest. He trusted human sympathy to anchor it. In the theory of moral sentiments, he explained that empathy and self-interest coexist, a dual engine of economic order. Thus, when traders compete, they don't coordinate through kindness, but through price discovery. Markets, like ecosystems, find equilibrium through feedback loops. This insight would shape future mathematical economics, from Walras's equations to Hayek's spontaneous order. The invisible hand was, above all, an early model of complex adaptive systems long before the term existed. Smith's economics cannot be separated from his ethics. Before writing The Wealth of Nations, he spent decades teaching moral philosophy. To him, markets were moral spaces, not in their perfection, but in their potential. He believed a just society required both liberty and restraint. Freedom in markets was vital, but unchecked accumulation could erode sympathy, community, and civic virtue. Smith imagined a commercial society where self-interest generated prosperity and prosperity nurtured virtue, if supported by justice, education, and trust. He distrusted monopolies, protectionism, and state favoritism, warning that people of the same trade seldom meet together. But the conversation ends in a conspiracy against the public. This moral skepticism made Smith an early critic of corporate collusion centuries before antitrust law. For him, economics was never about wealth alone. It was a social science of flourishing, a balance of efficiency and empathy. Adam Smith died in 1790, but the machine he set in motion never stopped. His vision evolved into classical economics, refined by Ricardo, challenged by Marx, revived by Keynes, and reinterpreted by modern growth theorists. Every debate in economics today, from inequality to automation, echoes Smith's dual concern: productivity and morality. In the 21st century, the invisible hand faces new tests: digital monopolies, AI-driven labor displacement, climate externalities, and data as capital. Yet Smith's core message endures: that prosperity emerges when self-interest operates within moral and institutional boundaries. He would have likely welcomed behavioral economics, sustainability metrics, and institutional reforms as part of that moral evolution. Economics, as Smith began it, was never merely about wealth, but about how we live with one another in pursuit of it.